Hello, boys. Welcome back to English second paper class of Academic English. How are you all? I believe all of you are doing very well. This is your Simimis now with you to continue this virtual presentation. Dear boys, in our previous lectures, actually in several lectures, we have been discussing about changing of speech, that is narration. We have already discussed some rules of changing assertive sentence from indirect to direct to indirect. And also we have discussed some rules of changing interrogative sentence and imperative sentences from direct to indirect. So these rules are very clear, and now we can change assertive sentences from direct to indirect, interrogative sentences from direct to indirect, and imperative sentences from direct to indirect as well. So dear boys, today we are going to discuss passage narration. This is very important part of narration. So today we will focus on some rules of changing passages from direct to indirect. So this class is very important for you all. So I have already informed you all that this class is specially required for the boys of class 10, for English version boys, for all sections. I mean A, B, C, and D, and English version boys are also allowed to watch these classes as well. So dear boys, today we are going to discuss changing of speech, especially passage narration. So now let's move to our discussion. So to make this class effective and useful, what you need a pen and exercise copy, because while I will present the topic, then you need to copy the lecture. That's why you need pen and exercise copy. So dear boys, if you don't write and if you don't practice, this class is not going to be effective as it is supposed to be. That's why I am asking you to write down in your exercise copy. Okay? So you have to take notes and you have to submit. So the topic to discuss today is passage narration. So the first and number one rule is to change the passage from direct to indirect. So first thing you need to do is identify the speaker and the listener from the passage. Place reporting verb before the reported speech in indirect speech. Okay, so first thing you need to do is you have to identify the speaker and you have to identify the listener from the passage. And after that you have to place the reporting verb before the reported speech, okay, in indirect speech. Suppose you see, he said you are lazy. So what we need to do here, firstly we have to say he said that. Now we are instructed to change the person, okay, according to the subject of the reporting verb. So he, you will change according to the subject him. He said that he was lazy. So our reporting verb is written in past tense. That's why we have to change this auxiliary verb also. He was lazy. He said that he was lazy. So I opened the door, he said, and saw him at once. So what we need to do? First we have to identify the speaker. So which is the speaker? Who is the speaker here? He is the speaker here. So firstly we have to write down he said. Okay? He said that I opened the door. we have to change this I according to the subject. Okay, and we have to change the tense as well. Okay, the tense of the sentence as well. He said that he had opened the door and had seen him at once. As this reported speech is written in past tense, this past tense backshifted to past perfect tense. He said that he had opened the door and saw him at once, and this reported speech also will backshift to past perfect tense. Okay, that's why the answer will be he said that he had opened the door and had seen him at once. Okay, so now what to do? Here we have another example. I visited the place several times, he said. So the answer will be he said that he had visited the place several times. That's it. So let's move to the next slide. So rule number 2 is use linking words to join the speech if the same speaker has more than one speech back to back. Okay? Use linking words to join the speech if the same speaker has more than one speech back to back. Okay? So here you can see in assertive sentence you can use say that, again say that, added that, further added that, moreover added that, again added that. In interrogative sentence you can say as asked if or WH word, further asked if or whether WH word, moreover asked if or whether WH word, again asked if or whether, and after that WH word. Okay. Rule number 3, emphasize in changing pronouns. So you have to keep in mind that you have to change the pronoun and you have to give emphasis in changing the pronoun. So here you have an example. I never drink anything for luncheon, she said. Neither I do, I answered promptly. Except white wine, she proceeded as though I had not spoken. These French white wines are so light, they are wonderful for digestion. Okay, so this piece passage is taken from a story written by William Somerset Maugham. So, Luncheon, from Luncheon, the story Luncheon. Okay, okay. So now, I never drink anything for luncheon, she said. Neither do I answered promptly, except white wine. She proceeded as though I had not spoken. These French white wines are so light, they are wonderful for digestion. So, firstly, we have to identify the speaker. So, who is the speaker of this sentence? She said. So, the lady is the speaker. I answered. I is the writer. Okay, so what we are going to write down, she said that I never drink anything for luncheon. So this I will be changed according to she. So here we are going to write down she never, and this reporting verb is written in past form. That's why we are going to change this statement in past form. She said that she never drank anything for luncheon. Okay, I answered promptly. So here I is mentioned because here we we are going to mention about the writer. That's why we are writing I. Nothing wrong using I, okay? I answered promptly that I did not use to drink anything for luncheon too. Or you can say the narrator answered promptly that he did not use to drink anything for luncheon too, okay? She proceeded as though I had not spoken and said that She only drank French white wines because they were very light and wonderful for digestion. So look at to this answer, analyze it. Analyze it. So you see, she said that she never drank anything for luncheon. I answered promptly. Okay. So look at this answer and analyze it. Now let's move to rule 4. So what do we have here in rule 4? So here we can see that in rule 4, use the vocative case as an object instead of using phrase addressing him as his friend, addressing him by the name of, if there is any in indirect speech. Okay, use the vocative case as an object. Okay, and also instead of using phrase we can say addressing him as his friend. Okay, or addressing him by the name of, if there is any direct speech. Okay, so here we have a passage, actually dialogue. Okay, hello Ifa, how are you? Ifa, I am fine, and you? Lisa, I am fine too. But what are you doing, friend? Ifa, I am watering my plants. Okay, so here we have to find out the speaker first. So Lisa is the speaker of the first statement. So we are going to write down Lisa greeted Ifa. Okay, Lisa greeted Ifa and asked her how she was. Lisa greeted Ifa and asked her how she was. Okay, Ifa replied that she was fine and wanted to know about Lisa. Lisa said that she was fine too and asked Ifa, her friend, what? But what are you doing, friend? So, what she was doing. Then Ifa replied that she was watering her plants. Okay. So here you see rule number 5. Use addressed as or addressing as in indirect speech if someone is addressed in a reported speech. Okay? Use addressed as or addressing as in indirect speech if someone is addressed in reported speech. Okay, you see, are you alright, gentlemen? So in indirect speech we have to say the officer addressed them as gentlemen and asked them if they were all right. Or addressing them as gentlemen, the officer asked them if they were all right. Okay, so here you see the exception. Use respectfully instead of addressing as sir or madam if someone is addressed as sir or madam. Okay, you see, use respectfully instead of addressing as sir or madam if someone is addressed as sir or madam. Right? So we are not going to use addressing as sir or addressing as madam. We are going to write down only respectfully. He said respectfully. He asked respectfully. Okay. Just you see, the teacher said to the principal, Madam, I need leave for a day. Okay. The teacher respectfully said to the principal that he needed leave for a day. So here we didn't write down addressing as sir or addressing as madam. We only wrote the teacher respectfully said. Okay. So rule 6. Use a replied in the affirmative or replied in the negative in the indirect speech if you have yes or no in the direct speech. You see, the teacher. Have you done your homework? Student. No, teacher. I beg pardon for that. Teacher. I see. Then have you memorized the poem? Student. Yes, I have. So here, what are we instructed to do? We are going to use replied in affirmative or replied in the negative in the indirect speech if we have yes or no in indirect speech. So here you see the first statement. Who is the speaker? The teacher is the speaker. So here we are going to write down. The teacher asked the student, what? Have you done your homework? So we can answer since this sentence is started with auxiliary verb, we can answer with yes or no. That's why we are going to use yes. Um, if or whether here, okay? If he had done his homework. So the student, no teacher. So now we are going to write down the student replied that he had not done it. Okay. Then have you memorized the poem? I beg pardon for that. So or the student replied in the negative and he begged his pardon. The teacher further asked him if he had memorized the poem. The student replied that he had memorized it. Or we can say he replied in affirmative. So here you see he begged his pardon. To make more clearer, we have used S in bracket, that means student, and T in bracket to indicate the teacher's pardon. So I think, dear students, you are very clear about this rule. Okay, now we are moving to the next rule. When a sentence starts with by Allah, by God, or by my life, etc., use swearing by Allah, swearing by God, or swearing by my life to convert into indirect. Understand? So, what we need to do, if the sentence starts with by Allah, by God, or by my life, etc., then we have to use swearing by Allah, or swearing by God, or swearing by my life to convert into indirect. Okay? By Allah, replied the porter, I will not leave this house without my companions. So, swearing by Allah, the porter replied that he would not leave that house, okay, without his companions. So here you see rule number 8. Participle phrase of direct speech is used at the beginning of indirect speech. You see, are you brothers? Asked the mistress of the house, turning to the dervishes. Okay. Turning to the dervishes, the mistress of the house asked if they were brothers. Okay. Rule number 9. If there is thank you in reported speech, use this structure to make direct. Indirect. You see, subject of reporting verb, thanked, object of reporting verb. Subject of reporting verb, thanked, and object of reporting verb. So, direct one. He said to me, thank you. He thanked me. Okay, that's it. So you see, rule number 10. If you have goodbye or good night in reported speech, use this structure for indirect form. Subject, of reporting verb, bed, object, and goodbye. My friend said to me goodbye. My friend bade me goodbye. The boy said to me good night. The boy bade me good night. Rule number 11. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. When we have good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, then we have to use the subject first. Wished, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. You see, he said to me good morning. He wished me good morning. Good night, bad good night. Okay, so exception is when we have good night, then we have to say bad good night. Okay, he bade good night to me. Being surprised plus interrogative rule. You see, you, but you are small, said to Jerry. Being surprised, she asked Jerry if it was he and said that he was small. Being surprised, she asked Jerry if it was he and said that he was small. Okay, when we have phrase in direct speech, to change it to indirect speech, we have to complete the sentence according to the speech of the speaker. The writer said to Jerry, then 10 cents an hour, anything is alright. Okay. The writer asked Jerry if 10 cents an hour would do. He replied that anything was alright. Rule 14. Emphasize on the relevant meaning of the passage. Curtail the irrelevant words while converting from direct to indirect. Write the passage as a summary instead of writing as a dialogue. What do you want? She asked. Alfred answered, I only want to come in. I am very tired. Please let me come inside. Afterwards, I will go away. She asked Alfred what he wanted. Alfred told her that he wanted to go in only because he was very tired. He requested her to let allow him to go inside. He also assured her that he would go away soon or leave the place afterwards. So dear boys, if you want to do in changing of speech, then you have to practice a lot. So here to practice, this is practice number 1. You can try it by yourself. The guest said, please give me a glass of water. I have walked 10 minutes at stretch. My throat has been completely dry. I said, take some rest and then you can drink water. Okay? You can do it by yourself. Okay? Just pause the video, think for a while and try to write down the answer. And after that, play the video again and check the answer. So now I'm sharing the answer. The guest requested me to kindly give him a glass of water and said that he had walked 10 miles at a stretch and further added that his throat had been completely dry. I advised him to take some rest and then he could drink water. So here you see practice 2. Again, I am giving you the same suggestion. You can pause the video for a while and you can try to write down by yourself and play the video again, then check the answer. A hawker said to me, do you want any newspaper? I have all types of news magazines. Please take one. The customer said, I want a weekly magazine. So the answer is, a hawker asked me if or whether I wanted any newspaper. and said that he had all types of news magazines and requested to take one. I said that I wanted a weekly magazine. So here you see practice 3. Where do you like to go, sir? Asked the ticket seller. Cox's Bazar, replied the stranger. How many tickets do you need? I will buy 5 tickets. Take these tickets. They will cost 3,000 taka, said the ticket seller. The ticket seller politely, gently, or respectfully asked the stranger where he liked to go. The ticket seller again asked him how many tickets he needed. Then he replied that he would buy 5 tickets. The ticket seller asked or told him to take those tickets. Okay, so now here you have some tasks. Try to do it by yourself. Why are you loitering here and there now? Are you in trouble? Said the school teacher. I'm loitering because I have none to take care of me, said the boy. The school teacher said, do you feel hungry? Yes, I am very hungry now, said the boy. So, task 2. Follow my example. She said, as we shook hands, and never eat more than one thing for luncheon. I will do better than that, I retorted. I will eat nothing for dinner tonight. Okay, this is the second one. Try to do it by yourself. Third one and the last one is whose picture is it? I asked. A little girl's, of course, said grandmother. Can't you tell? Yes, but do you know the girl? Yes, I know her, said Granny, but she was a very wicked girl and I shouldn't tell you about her. So this is the third one. So try to do it by yourself. If you practice more, you will learn more. Okay? So dear boys, that's the end of today's lesson. Take care of your family members, take care of yourself since the weather is changing. So now there is so much possibility of being sick. That's why I'm asking you all to be very sincere and take care of yourself. All right, dear boys, thanks to you all. And again, stay home, stay safe.